Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are looking at the absolute ultimate battle of wits on the football pitch. We're talking about a high-stakes heist. But, there are no getaway cars or bank vaults here. Just a pitch, a ball, and a literal stroke of tactical genius. This is the story of how the world's highest football governing body tried to totally lock down the game, and how one incredibly clever player managed to pick the lock almost immediately.
Okay, let's dive into this. Just imagine you're staring down a brand new, supposedly bulletproof anti-cheating rule at the World Cup. It's designed specifically to stop you from doing exactly what you want to do. And you can't break the rule because the referee is standing right there watching your every single move. So how do you beat an unbreakable rule in plain sight? Well, to understand the sheer brilliance of the loophole we're about to look at, we kind of need to understand the problem that forced the rule into existence in the first place. Which brings us to Section 1. The art of time wasting and years of football frustration.
Listen, for years, football had this massive, deeply frustrating problem. When a team was winning, suddenly the clock became their absolute best friend. I mean, you had players just casually dropping the ball out of bounds, acting like they didn't even see it. Or they'd purposefully walk away, forcing some poor teammate to slowly jog halfway across the pitch just to take the throw. And my absolute favorite, spending ages drying the ball off with a towel. Seriously, it was like they were preparing a rocket launch rather than just taking a throw-in. It completely killed the momentum of the game. So let's see how this built up to the ultimate governing body response.
Moving on to Section 2. FIFA's perfect solution, also known as the ultimate crackdown. They decided enough was enough and dropped the hammer. 5. That's the magic number. Under this massive new crackdown, once a player picks up the ball for a throw-in, they have a grand total of exactly 5 seconds to throw it back into play. 5 seconds! I mean, that is barely enough time to take a deep breath, let alone organize a complex tactical play or, waste time. The window for stalling was aggressively slammed shut.
So the crucial point here is the sheer severity of the consequence. If you fail to get that ball out of your hands and back into play within that tiny 5-second window, you don't just get a little warning. Nope. Possession immediately goes to the other team. And in football, just freely handing the ball over to your opponent, that's practically a cardinal sin. This heavy consequence made the rule look absolutely terrifying for players. It genuinely sounded like the perfect bulletproof solution. But as with any great heist, a heavy vault door just means you've got to get a bit more creative with how you enter the building. Which takes us to Section 3, the Scottish loophole, a tactical masterclass. Almost immediately after this rule was implemented, Scotland's Andrew Robertson flawlessly executed a massive loophole. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how he did it. Look closely at his first move. Instead of rushing over to grab the ball as it went out of bounds, which, remember, would start that dreaded countdown, Robertson simply stood there. He just waited. He used all the time he needed to let his teammates get into the perfect tactical position on the pitch. And then, only after the strategy was completely set, did he finally pick up the ball. Then, boom, he easily delivered the throw well within the 5-second limit. And here is Section 4, a perfect technicality, the flawless getaway. Now, what's really interesting about this is how it exploited the core flaw in FIFA's armor, a physical trigger. You see, the 5-second timer doesn't start when the ball goes out of bounds. It doesn't start when the referee blows the whistle. Actually, scratch that, there's rarely a whistle for a basic throw-in, but you get what I mean. The timer only begins the exact microsecond a player physically picks up the ball. By completely separating the act of preparing for the play from the act of actually holding the ball, Robertson bought his team literally all the time in the world, staging a flawless getaway right in front of the officials. Technically, he followed the rule perfectly, and FIFA couldn't do a thing about it. I mean, that right there is the hallmark of a true loophole. The referee couldn't blow the whistle, the opposing team couldn't complain. Why? Because according to the exact letter of the law written by FIFA themselves, Andrew Robertson was a model, law-abiding player taking a very swift, sub-5-second throw-in. He essentially weaponized their own wording right back at them. Which leaves us with a totally fascinating dynamic going forward. We've seen the unbreakable rule, and we've just seen the perfect workaround. So the question we have to ask ourselves now is, how will FIFA patch a perfectly legal loophole? Do they rewrite the rule to start the clock the exact moment the ball crosses the line? And if they do, what new, ingenious heist will the players invent next to outsmart that one? It's like a giant puzzle, and the battle of wits on the pitch never truly ends. Anyway, thanks for joining me on this explainer, and definitely keep your eyes peeled next time a ball goes out of play.